guys. Today we're going to read Better Than You by Trudy Ludwig. And before we get started, I wanted to let you know that we're going to be reading some books this week to you. Miss Estes and I will take turns, and then we're going to use text evidence to think about our thinking and respond. So we're going to start with this first question. I'm going to bring this a little closer in case you cannot see it. The first question is it okay to be proud of your own accomplishments? Why or why not? So let me give you a moment to think about that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to read the book, and then I'm going to go over this question at the end, and then we're going to go over this one. Okay? So I hope you enjoy. Better than you. My neighbor Jake can be a real jerk, always letting me know that whatever I do, he can do better. Don't get me wrong, Jake is great at practically everything he does, especially sports. Me, not so much. I mean, I know I'm good at writing stories and playing the guitar, but when it comes to basketball, I have to practice a lot just to be a decent player. The jerky side of Jake first started to bug me when I was trying to learn how to do a layup. For weeks, I'd been working on leaping, aiming, and shooting like an NBA star. I even got my older brother Iggy's help. I was so excited when I could finally do it that I went over to Jake's house to show him. "Hey Tyler, what's up?" said Jake. "Check this out. I can do a layup." After I showed him the move, he grabbed the basketball from me and said, "Yeah, well, I bet you can't do this." Then Jake did a perfect hook shot. He couldn't just say, "Cool, Tyler," or "Great job, you nailed it." Nope, he had to outdo me. Who am I kidding, I thought. I'll never be great at basketball. Why even bother trying? Last Tuesday morning, I was in the middle of showing Charisse my new music player when Jake came over. "What's that?" he asked. "It's a sound launch," replied Charisse. "Tyler just bought it." "You're kidding! A sound launch? You should have gotten a Tunage 300, said Jake. Then he went on and on about all the great things his music player could do that mine couldn't. I just stood there, thinking of all the places I'd rather be than right there with Jake. Today we had a math test. I hate math. It's my hardest subject. My hands get all sweaty and my brain turns to mush whenever I try to solve the problems. Do you want to know what was worse than taking that test? Having the teacher tell you that the kid to your right would be grading it. And since I sit next to Jake, he got to check my answers. "Geez, Tyler, I can't believe you got some of these problems wrong," he said. "This test was so easy. I must be like 5 times smarter than you in math. There should be a law that kids don't get to grade each other's tests. Stupid test, stupid me." When I came home from school, I threw down my backpack, headed to my bedroom, and slammed the door. "Hey, Tyler," called Iggy from downstairs. "Uncle Kevin's here." When I didn't go say hi to Uncle Kevin, he came upstairs. "Why are you holed up in your room?" he asked. I didn't say anything and just kept tossing my basketball up in the air. "You know, Tyler, one of my favorite ways to get rid of the blues is to play them," he told me. We went out to the front porch and started strumming away. Uncle Kevin was right. Playing the guitar did help me feel better, but it still didn't solve my problem with Jake. After a while, Uncle Kevin asked, "Did you have a tough day at school?" "More like a tough month," I grumbled. "My friend Jake's been getting on my nerves a lot lately. I know he's better than me at a bunch of stuff, but he doesn't have to rub it in my face all the time. I feel like such a loser when I'm around him." Uncle Kevin nodded as he strummed some more chords. "Is Jake like this around all your other friends too?" I thought about it for a moment, and I remembered hearing Carlos tell Oscar at baseball practice that he was sick of Jake's bragging. "He thinks he's better than us," said Carlos. "Yeah, what a show-off," agreed Oscar. So it wasn't only me that Jake treated this way. The other guys were getting fed up with him too. Maybe it wasn't my fault after all. Maybe it had more to do with him than me. I shared this with Uncle Kevin, and he told me that people like Jake are a lot like puffer fish we saw at the aquarium last summer. They puff up their bodies to make themselves bigger than they are actually. It's a way of protecting themselves from potential enemies, he explained. But when a kid acts like a puffer fish, he takes up so much space that he can also push away friends. Uncle Kevin suddenly stood up and shouted, "Make way for Pufferfish Man," as he chased me around the porch. Mom almost had a heart attack when she came face to face with Pufferfish Man. I laughed so hard my sides were hurting. After Uncle Kevin left, I biked to the schoolyard. When I got there, Jake and Nico, this new kid on my street, were on the field throwing a frisbee. "Hey," I said, nodding in their direction. "Can I play too?" "Sure," they both said. When it was my turn to throw the frisbee, I flicked my wrist and put a sweet spin on the disc, flinging it directly to Nico. "Nice," said Nico. "Thanks," I replied. And then Jake did what he does best. He puffed up. "That's nothing," he said. "Look what I can do." When it was Nico's turn, he did this amazing throw. Our eyes nearly popped out of our heads. "Wow, that was awesome," I told Nico. "Thanks. I could teach you how to do it." "Really?" "Sure, only if you show me how you did your throw." "You bet." Then Nico turned to Jake. "I can show you too if you'd like." "Yeah, well, I know all the cool frisbee throws I need to know," said Jake as he started walking off the field. I ran up to him and said, "Come on, Jake, don't go. So what if Nico throws better than us? He's cool. Let's just toss the frisbee around. It'll be fun." "Nah, I'm out of here. You coming?" I looked at Jake and then at Nico. "No thanks, I'm going to stay here with Nico." "Whatever," muttered Jake as he turned and headed home by himself. Nico and I took turns teaching each other different throws and ended up talking about all kinds of stuff. I found out that Nico just got a guitar for his birthday, so I offered to teach him to play. He thought that was a great idea. You know what? I have a feeling that Nico and I are going to be really good friends. So I hope you enjoyed the book. Let's go on to our second question. The next question says, is it possible to become stronger or better at something you're not as good at right now? If yes, how? So think about that question for a minute. Now, I'm going to ask you one more question, and I would want to read a response for this. So I'm going to give you an example of how you would do that. So the question is, Uncle Kevin compared Jake to a puffer fish. Do you agree with his description? Why or why not? So if this was a real question for you to respond to, here's an example of a good response. I agree with Uncle Kevin comparing Jake to a puffer fish. Now I'm going to tell you why. Uncle Kevin described how puffer fish puff up their bodies to make themselves bigger than they really are as a way to protect themselves from their enemies. This is the exact same thing that Jake was doing. He thought he needed to brag and boast about everything he could do as a way to make and keep friends. So you can see I answered the question, I gave you a description, and I told you why or why not. So I supported my reason with text evidence from the text. So you have got some questions on your paper that you're going to respond to. And when you do that, be sure to use text evidence. Go back to the video and look at the story again if you need to. So the questions that you're going to be asking, or answering, are how does Jake's bragging affect his friendship with Tyler? Do you think this story could happen in real life? How did the author make the story seem real? Those go together. And what do you think the author wants you to understand after reading this book? I hope you have a great Monday, and we will see you later. Bye.